Hi guys, it is Mr. Fed. Welcome back to the channel. I am back in the man cave. We will be talking about a Switch 2 game that I have been playing called The Adventures of Elliot in a minute. But quickly before that, yeah, I have been busy. Went to a music festival last weekend up in Manchester. I don't know how much longer Mr. Fed is going to be able to do these music festivals because this 3-day music festival pretty much finished me off. I didn't get really a lot of photos. I did take some footage. I did post a bit of footage of one of the bands that I saw, a band called Hatebreed, who I actually really quite like. But that's about all the footage I got. So yeah, I have been a bit of a busy bee. But in between being a busy bee, I have noticed that my YouTube sub count has actually crept over 100 subs. So I think it's about 101 at the moment, but I'm not going to celebrate or anything like that because my sub count, if I get 2 or 3 subs, I could quite easily lose 5 or 6. So, you know, my sub count is that erratic that I'm not going to be celebrating double digits just yet. I think to make it safe, if I get to 110, that will probably give me a bit of a cushion. So I can get to 110, lose 5 subs, but still be in and around just above the 100 mark. And I think that's when I'll probably pop open a lovely delicious can of beer. But anyway, I'm back now. In between sort of music festivals and various other things like work and life, I have been playing this game here, The Adventures of Elliot. Now, if I was a competent YouTuber, I'll be having some nice gameplay footage somewhere up in the corner here. But I'm not a competent YouTuber. I'm far from a competent YouTuber. I still haven't figured out how to edit sort of gameplay footage into your video. But there's loads of gameplay footage of this game all over the internet. So I'm just going to sit here and give my thoughts. A lot of people saying, is it or is it not a Zelda clone? I've heard arguments for and against. To me, personally, it plays like a Zelda clone. It plays like Zelda A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. Now, that's not a bad thing, and certainly when I first started playing this game, I took up my sword and shield, I was exploring, I was opening up the map, I was finding treasure, I was going into caves, bombing cracks in walls, opening up new caves and doorways, doing dungeons. My initial thoughts were in the first sort of couple of hours, like, wow, this game is really, really good. I am really enjoying this game. It has to be at least a 9 out of 10. This could be my game of the year. I'm now about 15 to 20 hours into it. And as I've been playing it more and more, my appreciation of it has kind of taken a dip. It's not gone up. My thoughts and where I will grade this game on a scale of 1 to 10 has kind of gone down. Well, Mr. Fed, why has this game gone down in your estimation? I mean, it's a little bit like a stuck record. When you go off and you're exploring, you're opening new parts of the map, sometimes the areas that you explore, the rewards don't meet the level of exploration you have to do. So you can be sidetracked from your main mission. You could go off into all sorts of different caves. But at the end of those sort of caves, you'll come across maybe an item like a piece of magicite that you perhaps already own. So you've kind of wasted 15 or 20 minutes exploring sort of various areas, and the reward doesn't meet the amount of time dedicated that you put into the exploring. Another issue I had is this is a time traveling game, so you time travel through different decades, I don't know, various sort of phases of years gone by, but the map is exactly the same. So you get four different maps. But outside of a few changes in the aesthetic of those maps, the actual maps and where you go and all the caves and they're all exactly the same. But each map, for some reason, starts completely covered up. You know, you'd think that if you'd uncovered one map, because it's the same exact map outside of a few aesthetics, that all the maps would be uncovered and you'd know exactly where you're going. But that's not the case at all. So you find yourself re-exploring the exact same areas, but just in a different timeline of maps that you've already opened up. And that to me got really, really kind of frustrating, and that kind of really bugged me because I don't have the muscle memory to kind of remember exactly to a T where I have been in one map in one time frame to where I am on the same map in a different time frame. But outside of that, what I'd say, the enemies are very repetitive, and there's no real rhyme or reason about why you're fighting the enemies you're fighting. I mean, you fight kind of flying jellyfish. You can fight snails. You can fight robot spiders. You can fight chickens holding spears and crossbows. It doesn't really explain why I'm fighting a chicken holding a crossbow. There's no variation in the enemies either. You know, regardless of where you are in the timeline, the enemies are exactly the same. It would have been nice to have seen the enemies, like if you advance through the timeline, you know, they evolve a little bit or give you something, a little bit of variation. But the enemies are exactly the same no matter what map you're in, no matter what time or what year you're fighting in. They're all exactly the same. There's no evolution of the enemies at all. The side quests I did find starting to get a little bit tricky. Certainly there are some side quests that are time specific, so you've advanced the main storyline, then you're not able to go back and do certain side quests. I mean, that's okay. Some side quests though, they don't give you really enough warning about that. I found I advanced the storyline and then it popped up, some of your quests are no longer available, which I was a little bit gutted about. I personally like my side quests to be, you know, on the journey to the main destination. What I'm not a big fan of, you know, if my main destination is over here, I'm not really a big fan of someone giving me a side quest that is somewhere over here. You know, I'd like the side quest to be on my way to doing the journey. So there was quite a bit of deviation, and some of the deviation for some of these side quests, I looked at it and I looked at the reward and I thought, you know what? Going all the way to the other side of the bloody map to get a piece of magicite I already own or some accessory that doesn't really appeal to me in terms of I'll never use it. You know, I could do without that. I'll just focus on the main mission and I'll get to where I need to go. Leveling up is pretty clever. I do like the leveling up system. So as I said earlier, you get magicite. Now magicite is like crystals for your various weapons. And what you do is you have a magicite box. Now you put magicite in your box and then that magicite will affect your weapon. So for example, the magicite that I always use and what I like the best is attack up, critical up and critical rate. You know, anything that enhances my attack. I mean, if that's not your thing, you could have other magicite which increases the speed of your swing, increases the magic of your weapon. It can increase the speed of your character when you're using that weapon. I personally just like to go all out attack and really kill my enemies nice and quick with 2 or 3 swings of my sword. Now you can increase the size of your magicite box by going to see some kind of magicite wizard. And when your magicite box is increased, you can get more magicite in it, and that is how your weapons increase their power. It's pretty clever, pretty standard stuff. I actually quite enjoyed the leveling up process on my weapons. That's probably one of the real positive points about this game. And there's plenty of weapons as well. You know, it wasn't short on weapons. You had the usual, the boomerang, the bombs and the arrows. But you had a little kind of spinny thing on a hook, which I thought was quite good. The spear was quite good and quite sort of powerful when you powered that up. And the sword was like, you know, akin to the Master Sword in Zelda. I mean, the game looks really, really good. That 2D, 3D aesthetic that we first saw in Octopath Traveler. Square Enix have nailed it here. I mean, I absolutely love that kind of 2D, 3D Octopath Traveler kind of presentation. It looks fantastic, works an absolute treat here. So the game looks absolutely glorious. The maps can be a little bit confusing. I've said a little bit about the maps, but there are some really kind of frustrating moments. You think you're going down a path which might lead you to a treasure chest, but on occasion it would lead you to a flat out dead end. I mean, what is the point in even having this dead end here? Why is this dead end in the game? Why is the game making me take this turn, travel down this path just to hit an absolute brick wall with nowhere to go? Again, another one of those little Little niggling frustrations. The boss fights I thought were quite clever. You get kind of sub-level bosses, which are kind of guardians. The guardians are pretty easy to defeat. Basically, just up your arrow powers and up your arrow count, fire arrows at them. I mean, they'll go down in about 40 arrows, so they're pretty easy. The actual main bosses, though, they get a little bit trickier. Certainly, you want to take a few healing potions in with you. Regardless of that, even if you run out of healing potions, there's a fairy that travels by your side. You can pay her 150. They're called tool, but I mean it's rupees, isn't it? Let's call it rupees for this argument's sake, because we understand the concept and the currency value of a rupee. You pay her 150 rupees and then she'll revive you. I don't know why you have to pay her. I mean, she is your friend. She is by your side. It doesn't explain why you need to give her money. Why she can't just kind of, re-energize you and get you back on your feet again. I don't know. But you have to pay her. And every time you die, you have to pay her more. So you start out with paying her 150 rupee, and then you pay her 300 rupee, and then you pay her 500 rupee, etc., etc., etc. Now, the fairy comes equipped with her own kind of set of powers, which you need to progress in the game. Some good power-ups, really, from Fairy, she's actually called Faye. You need her to set various lanterns on fire. So there might be a lantern that you need to set on fire, but you can't reach it. So you'll send Faye over with a press of the right thumbstick over to that lantern. You'll use her special ability. You'll set that lantern on fire, and then you open up a doorway for you to go through and continue on with your mission. Now, Faye in herself, the actual character, is the most annoying character in any video game of the history of video games. I have never met a character more annoying than Faye. I don't understand why this fairy could not be a grown-ass woman fairy. Why does it have to be a 6-year-old with a sponge for a brain with the most annoying, squeaky 6 to 7-year-old voice that just does not shut up? She goes on and on and on and on. Now, there is fortunately a way that you can actually hide her and make her rest and make her disappear for a while so she stops yapping on. But the thing is that Faye does have those abilities. She does help you in combat and she does collect rupees for you. So it's a real difficult balance. Do you want her by your side helping you, even though you've got to put up with her incessant yapping? Or do you just want to hide away, not have her assistance, get on with it yourself, but actually have some blissful peace and quiet from that annoying, irritating, squeaky, horrible, childlike voice? Other aspects of the game, loads of collectibles. For some reason they have you collecting cats. Don't ask me why they have you collecting cats. If you collect a certain amount of cats, you go back to your cat collector and they'll give you like a quiver of arrows so you can hold more arrows. They'll give you like a bomb bag so you can hold more bombs. They'll give you other sort of prizes as well. I mean, cats are the most annoying creature on this earth. Believe you me, I've got 2 of them. All they do is throw up all over my house. They tear up all my furniture. They tear up all my carpets. Every single carpet in this bungalow needs replacing, but there's no point in replacing them until the cats have moved on to kitty cat heaven, because it's just something else that they'll trash. Yeah, I didn't take too kindly to go collecting cats. I would have much preferred it if we could have gone and collected puppies. Little puppy dogs would have been much more preferable. So I started out this game thinking that this was going to be my game of the year, giving it a 9 out of 10, but there were just little subtle, slight nuances that started to really grate on me as I started to get through 10, 15, 20 hours of this game. And my score has dropped slightly from probably what was going to be a 9 down to about a 7. It's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. And certainly, when it's good, it's really, really good. When the boss fights are good, they're excellent. But just slight nuances around the exploration, slight nuances around, the maps and the types of enemies you have to face. A massive nuance about that horrible, god-awful fairy that's your sidekick that accompanies you around all these missions. But would I recommend it? You know, if you are a SNES fan, if you are as old as Mr. Fed and you played Zelda A Link to the Past on Super Nintendo, this is good. It's not as good as A Link to the Past, but it scratches an itch. It definitely scratches an itch because there hasn't been a decent kind of Zelda clone for a fair old chunk of time, as far as I can remember. I can't really pinpoint the last kind of decent Zelda clone I've played outside of, you know, we might be going back to one of the Mana games, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to stick with a 7 out of 10 for The Adventures of Elliot. So those are my thoughts and a quick recap on where I've been, and that is probably going to bring us to the end of the video, guys. I'd like to say, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.